All right, everybody, welcome back to the Profit Roadmap. As always, we're your hosts, Ryan and Becca. This is the premier podcast created for field service pros to help you grow your business, stay on top of the latest trends, and help you provide even more value to the communities that you serve. So today, we're super excited to welcome Drew Larison of Larison Media. Larison Media is a complete marketing agency that is committed to helping service businesses and helping them increase the impact that they have. So we're super excited to talk marketing with you today, Drew. Welcome to Profit Roadmap. How you doing?
So happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm doing more and more of these podcast things, and it's always a really good time. Not just snippets of conversation, but longer, well thought out conversations that provide a lot of value. And happy to be here. Doing well.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad to have you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive straight into it. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background and the work you guys do over at Larison Media?
Yeah, sure. So, I've been in the marketing agency space for close to 15 years now. So I got a job in my young 20s at an agency, worked there for about 3 years, learned how the sausage was made, so to speak, and, decided to leave and start my own. So Larison Media will be 9 years old this June. When we first started, we were like a lot of agencies, kind of helped anybody and everybody, like a lot of businesses are, like you'll take any work when you first start. But as we've grown and developed, we've really grown into this like just full service digital agency that really found, pun intended, a home with home services. We love home service business owners, helping out, them. And we really think, what we like to say is we want to partner with small businesses so that together we can increase your impact internally, locally, and beyond. Because we truly believe that small business owners are the ones that are changing the world, and specifically those small home service businesses, the impact they're having, not just on homes, but the communities that those homes are in and the people that live in those communities. It's a really great thing to play a role in. And home service business owners, we've really learned they're great at what they do, the act of like what they do, and how they do it. So we're able to just really come in and fill that gap. And whether it's creative tasks, or, other things, just marketing, advertising, and branding related that technically normally aren't their strength, or they don't have time for it. And we can fill that gap and play a role in their story and helping them increase the impact that they're creating.
Beautiful. So, on the subject of impact, right? Like that's sort of the mission that you guys have. How do you guys approach that, and how do you guys measure that within, like your clients or within the communities that you guys are serving directly or through proxy?
Yeah, great question. We do it in a lot of ways. So we went through what's known as a why discovery a few years back, where we knew what we did as an agency and we knew how we did what we do, but we really wanted to figure out why. Why do we do what we do and how we do it? And we kept, it was like this 2-month long process with our leadership team. And we really came on this word of impact. And it's a big word for us that is on our walls. It's, it comes out of our mouth on a daily basis. And we didn't want our agency to just be known for what we do or how we do it, but more why we do it. Because if you want to talk marketing, I would really believe that people don't buy from you because of what you do. They buy from you of why you do it. And being in the digital agency space, definitely we could say, yep, we design social media graphics, or we design Google paid ad campaigns, or yep, we will make you a new website. But who else can say that? And it's every single other agency in the entire world, right? So there's not a lot that differentiates us about what we do. Maybe how we do it, there's a little bit unique of how we look at things or the strategies that we have, but we really wanted to find a home and what really made us us. And that's when we found out why we do it. So, we have staff here that we're constantly looking for those moments of impact that we call them. We actually have like a monthly contest internally where every time we create a moment of impact for a client. So maybe that's like, hey, we got 50 likes on a new Facebook post for them, all organic, or hey, this month's leads were twice as much of last month, or like, hey, the client told us today that they look forward to our calls every week. All those little moments of impact that can be happening inside of our clients' businesses, whether it's internally, locally, or beyond, we track those. And each staff member that makes those moments of impact, they fill out a Google form. And at the end of the month, we like kind of tally them all up and try to find like which moment of impact was like the biggest for us. And that staff member gets like a cash prize, because we don't want our staff members to just get burnt out on designing another graphic, designing another campaign, creating another landing page, all that kind of stuff, because that's what we do. But we really want them to know why we're doing it. And that's so that we can increase the impact of small businesses. Because like I said earlier, we truly believe the small businesses in this country and across the world, those are the ones that are really changing things. Those are the ones that could grow up to be one of those big businesses you hear about, like an Amazon or an Apple. All of those businesses started off as a small business, so that's why we want our people to come to work every day, not because they love graphic design or they love analytics and things like that. We want them to come to work every day because they know they're literally going to make an impact and change the lives of someone in our client's business, whether that's a customer or an employee. That's why we exist. So we've really like nailed down on that just whole idea of impact being, that's why we're here. We're not here to do what we do or how we do it. We're here to make an impact with our clients and change the world.
I love that. That's
I
awesome.
do too. I was reading on your website earlier today, and I think that was one of the things that really stood out to me is like how you guys focus with the small businesses, but also I read the part of the why. I love that. I don't see that often from a lot of businesses. Like, so when I do see it, it really sticks out to me because it brings more of a human touch, and it tells me, okay, these are people who actually care about what they're doing, what they're providing. And so is that something you take down with your clients as well? Is like do you speak to them and ask them like, what is your why? Why do you want us? Why do you want to partner with our marketing agency, but also your why as a business and what you want to do? Is that something important?
Yeah, fantastic question. And honestly, I'll shout out to my wife on this because she officially joined the family business 3 years ago. And she got here and we were just a company, trying to grow, trying to provide services the best we knew how. I didn't know what I was doing. Like a lot of small business owners, like we're just figuring it out day to day, like how to be a good business owner. And she really pushed us to do that why discovery internally. We actually did it for our sister company as well. So much so that we provide the why discovery consulting services for clients now. So yes, 100%, we basically do like these 4-hour workshops where we come into a small business and like they bring their key people to the room and we tell a bunch of stories. We like fill in a lot of gaps and sentences and try to figure out what this why statement is. So yes, we do that service for a lot of our clients. But what's been really cool is I think our staff is so sold on our why and the importance of having a why that I'm starting to see it, right? Like on how they talk to their clients or how they ask questions or the strategies they come up with. It's not just about what or how our clients do what they do. It does like dig a little deeper onto why do our clients do what they do. So I think it's like slowly leaking out into that. But we definitely, we're providing that service now. And we're actually hosting a workshop at a conference up in Victoria, Canada next month, where we're going to do this for a room of like 40 small business owners to find out what their personal why is as well. So a lot of times you find out what your personal why is, and then you can really learn how to walk in your why, and that can leak out into your business as well. And then you find out what your business's why is, and it's a really powerful thing. Not ironic in any way. My personal why is to be a positive influence so that together we can create a big impact. That's why I live, right? So as you can see, like that word impact made it into my personal why as well, because it's a really big deal for me professionally and like the company that I own. So yes, to answer your question, it's not just changed everything we do internally for us, but it definitely leaks out into like what we're doing for our clients as well, and like helping them really find that deeper purpose that maybe they didn't know before. Because it really is, when you find that why, it just becomes your North Star.
Yeah.
Simply to put, like it makes, if you are a business owner that really struggles from like decision fatigue, that means you don't have a why. Because if you have that North Star, that why, every decision gets so much easier. It's literally a black and white. Does it follow our why? Nope. Then we're not doing it. If it does, yeah, we're doing it. This goes into hiring. This makes hiring easier because you can really tell, someone that you're aptly like interviewing, do they look like they could follow our why? Do they understand our why? It makes investments in the company easier. It makes, services that you might start easier. It was just, it's changed everything. So yeah, it definitely has been a big deal for us internally. That's also leaked into the work we're doing for our clients.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I like the you said it towards the beginning, but like your team tracks like those awesome little like those little moments that really make your work fulfilling.
Yeah.
And then it's I don't know, it's kind of like a friendly competition in a way. It's like,
100%.
But I don't know. I think that's super cool. I might try to figure out how to sneak that into my my team,
key to that is just to give it like a really cheesy name. So we've named it like the impactometer is what we call it. And the goal is like to hit a certain amount of moments of impact every month. So it's like those like fundraising thermometers they have, like right. But yeah, it's been cool. But like one of our core values in general is just the word better. We want better for ourselves, our team, and our clients. So yeah, there's definitely friendly competition that happens with that impactometer, especially because there's like a cash prize winner at the end. But at the same time, like everybody leaves that meeting monthly, just honestly just really encouraged, and like it really once again reminds us of like why we're doing what we're doing, because in that meeting, let's say all we talked about, we created this many pieces of content, this many landing pages, we had this many phone calls, we did this many Facebook comments, compared to like here are 50 stories of impact that happened with our clients and the lives of their business that we created this month. You know what I mean? Like huge difference and like a morale booster for the team. Just a quick, awesome reminder of like, man, we are so much more than a marketing agency. That's what we do. That's how we do what we do, but why we do it. Like we're literally impact makers throughout the country now, being a national agency that we are. And it's such a cool thing to like constantly be reminded of that and to be able to have like tangible stories written out from the voices of our like brand strategists and our staff. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I know between those two meetings, the one where it's like all numbers and metrics and the one that like is going to like motivate and inspire, like I know which one I'm going to be yawning through and which one I'm going to be like engaged in. So
well, at the same time too, like the better that why meeting or the impactometer, actually we go back and forth, impactometer or impactometer, we can't decide which one we want to call it. But like with like that meeting makes for the other meeting just being so much better, because we know through those comments, through those shares, through those leads, or a better cost per lead number, within all that data are stories of impact, so like both meetings are really important, but at the same time, you start looking at those data metrics in a whole different way as well, to where it goes back to your why, so it's both end up being a great time.
For sure. Yeah, it kind of reframes those numbers in a much 100% much different way. Yeah.
Changes the North Star. I don't know how you look at them. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about let's talk about marketing, because that's what we're here to do, right? So as a small business owner, right, it can be difficult to like look at the cost of marketing and really like down the line like see the value that you're going to get out of that. The metaphor that I like to use is, if you have a vending machine, you can put $100 in and then get a client out of, like, I'm just going to keep putting money into that. But for a small business owner who is hesitant to make that investment into marketing, what are some of the longer term benefits that having a well-defined marketing strategy can do?
No, yeah, for sure. A lot of times when the idea of budget, comes up, I like to break it down into those three words that get used a lot, and it's advertising, marketing, and branding. A lot of times people will lump those three words together like they are the same thing, but really how we look at them, they are three different line item budgets. They are three different intentional strategies. And what I mean by that is advertising really is like the short game, right? So that is what you're talking about, put money into a paid ad campaign, whether it's a Labor Day sale or, it's some sort of like short, intentional, timed strategy, whether it's a Labor Day sale or holiday sale or whatever it is, but it's a paid ad strategy that you have like a pretty short-term goal that you want to get out of it with the investment that you're putting into it. Could be paid ads on Facebook, Google, radio ads, even like traditional media can still be done, and I think in a certain unique way and be successful. But that's advertising to me is like really that short game. Marketing to me is long game. Marketing to me, a lot of people think of what I just talked about, like those Labor Day sales, those paid ad campaigns, things like that. They think that's marketing, but really I think marketing, especially in the home service world, it's any action or idea that a company has or takes that hopes to increase their overall brand. So marketing to me is the uniform people wear when they're knocking on your door for a service, the phone call that happens during the sale, how somebody talks on the phone, how somebody answers the phone, your website, how much information, how confident they are to spend money with you, things like that. It's just really any action you take or idea that you have that you're like, if we do this, I think people will think highly of us or higher of us than they did before, which gets to the long term, which is the brand. And so we have advertising short game, we have marketing long game, and we have branding, which is simply the game to me. Like that's really, I think in business, the only thing that matters. In the brand, a lot of people will define that as your logo or your fonts or even, like the colors that you use and all of your branding. But to me, branding is simply what emotions do people have when they see your logo? What emotions do people have when they see or hear your company name? That's your brand. What do they say about you when you're not around, right? Because the higher somebody thinks about you or the higher somebody talks about you when you're not around, that's a raving fan, right? And everything we do in the meantime goes to that brand. So when it comes to like budgets and spending money on it, not everything has to be this $10,000 ad campaign, or you don't need a $15,000 logo to be a successful business. You don't need to spend all this money, but what you need to be thinking constantly is, what can we be doing that hopefully after it's done, people will think higher of us than they did before? And that's marketing. That's the long game of marketing. But when it comes to, and some of that stuff costs money, some doesn't, how, like I was talking about, like how your techs answer the door or how they knock on the door, how you answer the phone, how billing works, all those little things that doesn't cost money. It's just you being there and being present. Now, when it comes to the other stuff that does cost money, so the more of that advertising side, right? You just have to be really intentional about tracking. And this is one of the biggest things I tell people: do not spend a dime in paid advertising dollars if you do not know for sure where that dime is going to go and how many customers you got out of that dime. And and a lot of times this is where like the technology side of marketing comes in, and a lot of people get really intimidated by that, which, I mean, you can hire an agency, or YouTube University is an extremely powerful tool.
Yes.
But we're talking about just having like a Facebook pixel attached to your website to track all Facebook ad activity. We're talking about a Google, tracking code for all your Google ads. So it's not hard, but at the same time, which is so much harder, is not having those tools and then trying to evaluate what worked and what didn't work. So I really say, before you spend any money on even a Facebook boost, right? Not even like a deep ad campaign, make sure you're confident you're going to know where those dollars went, how they helped your business in the long run, how many customers did you get out of it? And that will save you so much headache, down the road. And the other thing with marketing too, that leans more into like the sales side of things, but that's why you do marketing, right? Marketing is the precursor to the sales conversation. A lot of times when we're talking to a client, whether it's in the proposal process or things like that, we're kind of like having that expectation conversation of what are you hoping to get out of this? How many leads per month? And we're usually be able to ask if somebody says like, oh, I need 250 leads a month, or something like that. And like they're in a smaller town. My next question is like, where are those leads going to go? Who's going to be taking in those leads? Because a great marketing strategy is only as good as the sales strategy to handle the leads that are coming in from the marketing. So A lot of times we save that conversation of, I want 250 leads a month. Yeah, but who's going to take those in? Didn't think about that, and like, I mean, there was this one client, I'll never forget it. It was actually a client in the med spa world, which we don't do a bunch of work in anymore, but we did in the past. And they were killing it. We had this awesome ad campaign going on. It had a great offer. It was, for a higher end service. And there were like 400 leads in 2 weeks. 400 people had claimed this offer in 2 weeks. Just like, it was gangbusters. It was going great. So it was one of those weekly calls we were really excited to get on, right? Where know, like, things are going great. You're excited to talk to the client, excited to see how things are going. And like, I'm not kidding. It was like this 400 lead situation. It was just gangbusters. And we get on the call. We're like, all right, so how are like things going? How are sales going? Are they converting well? Do we need to change things? Like, oh yeah, we haven't called them yet.
Oh no. Oh no!
Yikes!
There's a gold mine.
Yeah,
there's a gold mine out there, and like, yeah, we'll get around to it. I'm like,
oh no!
Why are we doing what we're doing?
Yeah,
right? Like,
someone else is going to get around to it.
It's just frustrating, 100%. And these are people. This isn't just like new Facebook page likes, right? Like these are people that have agreed to, I want this. They have said, I want this offer you are offering, put me on your books. And they just haven't called them, and like, I hate to say it, but stories like that can be much more common than you think. You have to call the leads, or email them. I don't care. Pigeon, like a carrier pigeon, get a hold of them somehow, because like, if a lot of people, and I think marketing is definitely the like sexier side of the two, a lot, because there's like creative involved, there's art involved, there's design involved. Sales is hard, right? Sales is a hard conversation for someone that hasn't done it for a long time. So a lot of time we put so much emphasis on that marketing side of things to get those leads, and then we don't have any strategy at all to what we're going to do with them after they come in. So that's starting to be like questions we're asking more and more when we're starting to work with clients. Like, all right, so tell me, where do these leads go? Is this an office, person that's going to be calling them? Do you have specific sales reps? Do you need anything from us? What type of, so we're having that conversation more. I mean, selfishly for our sake, if, it doesn't really matter if we give them 1,000 leads a day, if they're not making that phone call and closing those leads, we lose all value. Right? Because it's like one is only good without the other. So we're really trying to be more intentional about how can we help in that sales process? How can we, make sure you're following up with those people as best as possible? And no, just calling them once and leaving a voicemail is not good enough. The gold is in the follow-up, right? Yep. So it's a solid, intentional strategy from the creative, the graphic for the ad, all the way to actually closing them as a sale. But like, do not spend a dime if you don't know for sure how things are going to be tracked, and you're not going to be able to get great data back from the platforms you're doing ads on. But also do not spend a dime if you're not confident in your sales structure after those leads start coming in either.
And call your leads back.
And call your
leads.
Times.
Call them until they tell you to stop calling them, and then put them on a list that you call them back in a month, and
there
then
you
call
go.
them again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I have my lawn care people are here, so it's a little loud, but
freaking lawn care people.
I know it. But I really liked how you distinguished between branding, advertising, marketing, and the long game and the short game. Specifically with marketing, it's really part of everything, that whole process of like, okay, 100%. You have these leads, but can you onboard them? Do you have the team power to call them, to process them? Like, it's all part of that strategy, that long game. So I liked how you worded that.
It's anything. Like I said, it's any action or idea that your company has or takes in hopes to increase your overall brand. That's marketing to me. Yeah. So like I said, I really look at it differently than a lot of people, but it's just another level of intentionality and strategy and structure that can really change how you look at it. Because a lot of people, like I said, they just lump those three words together, but at the same time, they're completely different things.
Right.
And it's a lot of people, and I've been saying this a lot lately, like a lot of people will spend so much money on that visual branding, and then they check it off the list, right? All right, we spent 20 grand on a logo and a wrap truck. We did it, guys. We are branded. We have a great brand, and I'm like, oh, it's so much more than that. You could have the prettiest truck in the world, the best company name, the best logo, the best colors. But if your people aren't trained well to make sure every customer you have has the best possible customer experience with your company, AKA what we're talking about with marketing, that brand means nothing. That visual brand means nothing if you're not worried about what are people like experiencing with us, and that's marketing.
Beautiful. So let's talk about some actionable stuff. So let's say, hypothetically, smaller business owner, in your eyes as an expert, what are 3 or 4 marketing activities that someone
Sure.
that's brand new should really work on prioritizing to get a strong foundation?
Yeah, and something such low-hanging fruit that is still such a land of opportunity is really just start being more intentional about posting to social media. And not just posting to post. I like to tell people to like really reverse engineer this. If you were your customer, what kind of content would you want to see? Because a lot of times small business owners, they treat a Facebook post kind of like a billboard and like, hey, here's our logo and our phone number. Give us a call. But at the same time, like when they put their consumer shoes on, there's no way that type of post is what would get them to interact with a company, right? So you have to be like entertaining, you have to be educating, but more importantly, you just have to be providing value. Like that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's marketing, right? If I provide more value, this customer will think higher of my brand than they did before. So maybe that's through education on the specific services of what you do, or even like DIY tips. As weird as that sounds, that is such a great place where you can really provide value to a customer, that you become the authority in their brain. But really start to get more intentional about what you're posting and how much you're posting on social media. I think if we I don't know, there's an expression, what you focus on expands, which I think is such a true statement, to where a lot of times we get really busy with doing what we're doing that we forget about this thing called the internet, and then we hand off the social media accounts to like an office employee. But guess what? They also get really busy doing what they're doing, and then they forget about the internet. Like your marketing can't be a side gig in your business. It's really got to be something you're really intentional about, whether that's you internally or hiring a company like us, an agency where we can take it on and give it the attention it needs. But like your marketing cannot just be, this side gig in your business that you'll get to it when you get to it. It can, but you can't have the expectations of growth if that's how you're treating marketing. The biggest thing as well, I want people to know, re-engineer how you think about social media content. It's not just about posting or creating. Have it be more about documenting. Because a lot of times people think it has to be a certain graphic or a certain post that shows we mow yards, or we wash windows, or we clean houses. But what people really want to see is they want to see like a backstage pass into what your business is and what's going on. So it's this mindset change of, I want to really document what's going on in our business. I want people to feel like if I weren't like following them on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, I wouldn't have seen this, and that would have made me sad, So maybe like show that backstage content, that backstage pass type of content, that you would not be able to see if you weren't following them online. Second thing is, obviously you have to get intentional about your website. Your website should not just be there to be there. And I feel like we've gone through that, which just as the internet has aged and marketing has aged with it. A lot of people, honestly, they just got a website to have a website because somebody told them that they should have a website to have a website. But like what really needs to be your attitude and mindset is, this website needs to be an active tool that is used daily to help increase your business, not just your digital billboard of your business. So start being more intentional about that. Try to find ways that your website can be, like I said, that active tool in your business to gain more business, whether that's creating more content, whether that's pushing more people to your website, putting videos on your website, maybe having a whole FAQ section, whatever it is. Just try to be really active on your website in hopes that more and more people will start looking on your website, because what they're going to find is you on your website, and then you're going to become more of an authority, right? But once again, goes back to what I think about marketing. If you're providing value on your website, they're going to think higher of you than they did before, which increases your overall brand, right? But you have to be more intentional about your website. Like I said, just don't have a website to have a website. Third one, I guess we talked about this a little bit already, but just make sure everything's trackable. Make sure, and not just trackable, but then you're also looking at what's being tracked, because that's a whole different thing too. Just don't set up the pixel codes and then just like, guys, we did it. We have a pixel code. Check it off the list. What's next, right? No, use that data that's going to be coming in from those pixel codes and those Google codes to actually change things and make things better. The fourth one is what they call like the KISS method, like keep it simple, stupid. Like have fun, add value. Like that's it, man. If you just really think of it as this is your shot, especially in the world of the internet and social media, this is your shot to like humanize your company and to have fun with your company. Take advantage of that. No one is scrolling over Instagram or even Facebook and they're like, man, I wish I saw more posts from businesses today, So what you have to do is like, no one's saying that. Maybe the marketer maybe is, but like what we're hoping to see is just great quality content that's adding value, whether that's educational or entertainment value. So this is your shot as a small business to humanize what your, corporate brand might look like and have fun with it. And a lot of people overthink it way too much, but it doesn't need to be. A lot of people assume that your customers know as much about what you do as you do. So a lot of times content can be broken down in a much simpler way. Because video was obviously a really big thing, right? We're on a video podcast right now. Video just keeps taking over since TikTok like changed our lives during quarantine, and we're all obsessed with vertical video now. But a lot of times people are intimidated to jump on a video camera and like create video content. What I always really suggest, and people have told me this has worked out really well for them, is start by just sitting in front of a camera, writing down maybe the top 20, 25 like frequently asked questions that you get as a business owner that's done what you've done for a long time. Write down those FAQs and start with those. Because the FAQs, that's the stuff you've answered a million times during your day, whether it's a sales call or you're training an employee. Like that's the stuff you really, really know that you might not even know it. You already have like word crutches. You know exactly what you're going to say. You know exactly how you're going to say it. Sit down in front of a camera and start with those, and you'll get really comfortable on camera quickly. Because a lot of times people just sit down like, what the heck do people want to know? Like what post am I going to know? Do they really care that we're mowing such and such's yard? No, but they want to see that backstage content, that you want to stay in front of them. You don't want to be relevant in their brain as like they're just becoming humans on, social media. So, but just have fun, but if nothing should be posted if you're not adding some sort of value. I'm a big believer in that, because it goes back to just the goal of that long game of marketing, right? Whether this is an idea or an action, with doing this, we want people to think higher of us than they did before. And the best way to do that is just to add value.
Yeah, I really love the part about humanizing your business and your brand via like content marketing or whatever it is. Like you're talking about the websites. One of the first things I do when I'm looking at like if I need a contractor to come out is I go to the About Us section. Yeah, and I'm like, is it just like a generic thing, or is it like do they have pictures on there, like who's coming out to my house, like all that sort of stuff? That's me putting on my consumer shoe and saying like
100%. And a lot of times when we're making websites, that is the page the client wants to pay attention to the least, right? Because like unless they're like really egotistical and they love their name or something, their name out there, their photo out there, but a lot of times they're like, no, I need these services pages. I need them to know how to contact us. I need to know this form. But yeah, you're right. People want to know who they're doing business with, right? And I think, like I said in one of the very beginning things, like I think more importantly, they want to know why you do what you do, not just what you do or how you do it. I want to know why, and I mean, like you said earlier, I think you said like you've never heard like a marketing agency really like talk about themselves in that way. That's because a lot of people don't. A lot of people just say like, we mow yards and spray for weeds. Would you like to hire us? No, that's boring, right? People want to know more. People want to know the deeper story. They want to know that backstage content. They want to know like what makes you guys tick. Are you funny? What's your personality? All that kind of stuff. So, and that's ironically enough, that's the content that's easier. Just be yourself on camera and people will love it.
Yeah. I can think back very specifically. One time I had to like patch some carpet, and I still remember the company's name. This was like 10 years ago. I'd never done that before. And it's just this guy, he's got, decent personality. It's just him. And it's probably shot on like an old iPhone or something like that. Yeah. Pretty low effort. The actual editing was not great, but it's, it's something that this guy does, all day, every day. He's a master at it. And it's just like, I'm going to show you how to patch a carpet real quick. And I'm like, cool. Now I know how to do that. And like to this day, I still remember the name of that company.
I love it.
They're in Indiana, but I can't use them, but
yeah, I love that. But I mean, a good point of what you just made too is we constantly overthink that our customers think we need to be like Hollywood production businesses. I mean, we talked about YouTube University earlier, right? But it's like so true. They don't care if you're providing value and it's easy to understand, easy to grasp, and you're friendly. Is that too low of a bar? Just be nice, and like that's what they care about. They don't really care about how many Ks you have and the quality of your camera footage or anything like that. Now, I mean, if you can, that's awesome. But I don't want that to be just another hang up for business owners to not jump behind a camera and talk behind, or I mean, even like you're scared to post a graphic because it's not unbelievably professionally done, right? No one cares. Provide value. Be funny, be entertaining, show your humanized version of your brand. That is what people will care about.
Yeah. We had a conversation with one of our customers, Jonas Olson. He won the Biggest Badass. Drew, we talked about this in the pre-show, but like the circle of people, it's like the biggest, smallest.
Big fan of Jonas. Yeah, big fan of him. Yeah.
And we were talking to him, and one of the things that he's like, because he blew up TikTok. Like he did very, very well over there with Turf Badger. And it's like he was talking about how like the videos that were like pretty like low production value performed so well. And it's not super high investment in terms of time or money or anything. Yeah. And he might have a whole team for people to do that stuff now, but like starting out, he absolutely didn't need that.
You're 100% right. And I think this goes back to kind of what we were saying about, people put so much emphasis on branding rather than like the visual branding compared to like the brand of what experience people are having with you. We're focusing on the wrong stuff. And I think it's easy to focus on the stuff that is more vain or that goes towards vanity rather than the stuff that's really going to make a difference. So the same way people are spending way too much money and time on your visual logo or your brand and not enough time on like creating the best possible customer service experience. I think a lot of people, they spend way too much time and money on crazy, stupid, expensive cameras. And then they get behind the camera and they don't know what to say,
Exactly.
And it's so easy to just choose those vain outlets that make us look better to ourselves. But in the reality, one of the biggest lessons in marketing is it's nothing about you. Like this has nothing to do with you. This has everything to do with the customer or the potential customer you're trying to reach. And trust me, I mean, like what you just said with Jonas, they care about being, adding value to them. They care about that you're an actual human, not some like corporate jargon talking head. They care about, what you're doing in your community. They care about the surveys and like the reviews that you've gotten. They care about how you go the extra mile by giving them a gift at the end of the survey. Like that's the stuff they care about. They don't care about your logo. And like, trust me, I am a guy, I sell logos. Like we literally sell the process of logos. But what I don't sell is, if you don't do a process of logo, you will never be a successful business. I don't believe it. I don't think that's true. I think you need to focus more on the stuff that really matters and not just the stuff that makes you sleep better at night because you looked better today. It's nothing to do with you. I mean, there's a great Donald Miller out there, right? The story brand guy. The goal of a business is to make the customer the hero, not you. How do we make our customers heroes? And we play a role in telling that story. That's how you win. And sometimes making a customer a hero does not involve a $15,000 logo or a $4,000 camera and mic setup. Actually, I'll push back. Never does making the customer a hero involve those expenses. Care more about the experience they're having with your company. Everything else will be fine.
So true. Value. I know when I think of like the videos I look at, like on even reviews, if I go to like Yelp or whatever, I'm a visual person, so I just look at the pictures. I love to see like, can you do what you say you can do? Can you solve my problem? I don't care about the quality, but if you can show me, A to Z how to like fix my door on my car, like in a DIY video, I love it. It's perfect.
I love that. That's so true. So we hired a new sales staff a few months back, and I had them get on a phone call with one of our clients in the lawn and landscape world, just to like, hey, what are we missing maybe? Or like, what are some things that, green industry companies are looking for in their marketing that maybe we're not getting? And like literally the biggest takeaway that our client told that new staff member was like, guys, it's really simple. Just do what you said you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And like, I hate how low that bar is, but a lot of times like that's all we want. Like, we don't want to be the client that has to constantly be going back to our contract to see like, wait, aren't they supposed to be doing this? Or, hey, how often were they supposed to be posting this? Like, never make somebody do that, right? Or the same thing can be compared to, a home service, right? If your cleaning company leaves, you don't want customers, wait, aren't they supposed to do the bathroom? Or wait, aren't they supposed to clean the inside the oven? Like, you never like eliminate those things as much as possible, because from the get-go, do what you said you were going to do and you're good. If you do that, everything will be fine, right? But a lot of marketing agencies, they don't grow well, they don't scale well, and the scope of work becomes an afterthought, which is sad. So like his point of advice to us was like, just keep doing what you said you were going to do. Everything else will be fine.
Awesome.
I find sometimes if you're talking about doing like DIY focused educational content as part of your strategy, sometimes in conversation, this is anecdotal, sometimes in conversation I'll have like some pushback on that. Well, I don't want to show them how to do it themselves because then they're not going to call me. Like, I'm going to give you my take and then I want to hear what yours is, Drew. Because my take is the person that's like, if they're going to watch a DIY video and then they're going to do it themselves, they were never going to call you anyway. Like they were gonna do it themselves anyway. But for someone like me, like I'll probably watch that video and be like, yeah, that looks like a lot of hard work. I'm gonna call them to like come out and like edge the bush or whatever. So like so what's your take?
No, 100%. I agree. You're definitely gonna have some people that are DIYers. They're going to watch that video. They're going to do it themselves. And bummer, you just provided value to a random stranger on the internet. How disappointing.
Yeah. Not a total loss. Yeah.
Not a total loss in any way, because like maybe their neighbor is going to see what they did. He said, oh, I just watched this video of this local landscape company. They told me how to do it. You should call them. Like, what bad situation comes from any time of you like providing value to someone on the internet that maybe won't close as a customer right there, maybe will later though. Maybe they're a DIYer that can trim their own head bushes like you're talking about. But like when it comes to like full landscape ripped out, would you rather be the guy who provided content for a service they pulled off by themselves, but also still provided where you're top of mind for them later on for other projects? Or would you rather be the company that didn't provide value at all from the get-go?
Exactly.
What does it hurt? Right? It doesn't hurt anything. And that just goes back to, like I said, that's just such a good marketing strategy, because not only did you provide value, but like I said, you're now the top of mind authority figure in this space for this guy, because, you know, he followed your DIY, he or she followed the DIY, they did the service, it worked. Your advice was correct. You just provided value. Now you're top of mind. So all the other services that you possibly could provide that they're not DIYers for, you're now top of mind for them, as well as like the ripple effect that could possibly happen for their neighbors, for their friends that are, not DIY kind of people that are looking to hire somebody. You're now top of mind. You provided value to that person where they're going to start recommending you as well. It doesn't hurt anything. And also, like, literally, if you're a green professional, quite literally, how long would it take you to create that piece of content on how to trim a bush? 45 seconds. You're telling me like 45 seconds of work isn't worth that opportunity later on the road? It doesn't hurt anything.
Nice. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ryan. Well, I was just going to say,
go this time.
For the companies that we're talking a lot about videos and content and things like that, but what about businesses that rely heavily on word of mouth or referral? Is this a thing of the past? Is this like archaic, or can they be amplified through video content like we were talking about, or other ways?
Totally. I think what the internet has done is created this thing, just it's word of mouth on steroids, to be honest. Like word of mouth, what that used to be was Jill telling Susan about it. Now, potentially Jill has a great experience with your company. She posts a review on your Facebook page. She posts pictures of her backyard on her own personal Facebook page. And now Jill potentially could tell other 600 or whatever 1,000 Shannons that she has on her Facebook page. So if anything, it's just made it so much better. Like honestly, old school word of mouth kind of sucks now, like it's just one person telling one person compared to what the opportunity of what that could be online. It is word of mouth on steroids. It is referrals on steroids. And like, I know there's a lot of, I think Jonas does some of this. Speaking of Jonas, I think there's a lot of great opportunities to build like referral credits and referral bonuses for your current customers. If they do post online, if they post a review, if they bring in another customer. So like all that kind of stuff exists now for the referral world as well. There's really no negative side to it. If that's what your business has relied on, it's even better now. I mean, like we've seen that in our world. We've worked with certain clients that we did a good job for them, and now they're having us on their podcast to talk about, the great work that we did for them. So back in the day, that would just be our client possibly talking to another business. Now we're on a long form piece of content with our client about them bragging about us for an hour to their entire audience.
There you go.
I'll take those odds every day, right? So if anything, I think it's really just made word of mouth on steroids.
Okay. So, but with that, we know it can be an amazing thing, but there are also the instances maybe you have a disgruntled customer or someone who wasn't totally satisfied and they're putting it out on the internet. How do you, from a marketing perspective, how do you follow up with that? How do you address that with that person?
Great question. And obviously AI is real and here, but at the same time, most of our businesses are still ran by human beings that are not perfect human beings, right? So there are certain situations that are going to pop up. I think it's a mindset shift. A lot of times, you'll have clients that get a negative review and they get really upset. They, quickly get angry because whether they don't agree with it or whether it's phony or something like that. And a lot of times they want to delete, get rid of as much as possible. How I look at it is and I understand like these are my clients, they're not my business, so I can probably look at it differently. But to me, that's an opportunity to right a possible wrong. And in a weird way, you're blessed or lucky that they wrote a comment or they left a review, because back in the day, a lot of times that customer would just kind of slide away and you'd never hear from them again. Right. Maybe they would go tell a friend they had a bad experience and things like that. But if they're posting something on your platforms online, or like, I don't know, they said they want to delete it or like block that person, block. If they're posting something on your platforms, at least in that moment, you still have some control. We were talking to a customer this morning. They might become a client of ours, and they've built their business on reviews. in general, and they have like unbelievably high amount of like positive reviews and a stupid amount of low reviews. And he says that is because if we ever do get a negative review, I personally will go to that house and fix it until it's a positive review.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's powerful. But also like what you're saying, back in the day, before we had this opportunity or this blessing that we're getting to actually change this wrong into a right, these people just kind of disappeared. Because like a high majority of people, they don't like confrontation. And they will do, even if they're like, I'm not even going to ask for a refund. I'm just not going to say anything. Like the amount of times, like my wife has been in a restaurant, hated the thing she ordered, but still would eat it just so she didn't have to say anything. Then that's normal, right? So like back in the day, before they could publish something online and kind of be like a keyboard warrior for a second, they would kind of just disappear. But now we have an opportunity not only to right that wrong, but if we do it in the right way, you literally could build a customer for life, because the appreciation that customer will have that you took the time to not only reach out, try to right the wrong, and then right the wrong, but then we've got an opportunity to go above and beyond and fix that too. That person, talk about like going from a negative word of mouth to a positive word of mouth. Absolutely. They're going to like, man, you will not believe what this company did. There was an error. I pointed it out. They came out and they made it right 4 or 5 times over. I will hire that company, because I'm a reasonable human that knows that this company is employed by humans, or, has humans as employees, because it's not more about just the wrong that happened at first. It's about what you do to fix it. Right. Absolutely. And with reviews and negative comments and things like that, we finally have the opportunity to see and to make those changes to make right's wrong, and then more and more and more. So it's a mindset shift though. I get it. If you are an exhausted business owner working 14 hours a day, putting your all into everything that you're doing, and then you get that freaking email notification that somebody left a 2-star review on Google, like I get it. I get that's frustrating and hard, but guess what? Running a business is hard, and like there are times where you're just going to have to like take that high road and see what you can do and think more 40,000 feet of a situation, play more in the clouds in that situation rather in the dirt. And there's so much opportunity there that you might not realize long term if you just take a step back, change your mindset. How can we turn this negative into like a glowing positive beyond belief?
Yeah, I love reframing the like negative review. I've never thought about like the opportunity that comes with that.
Oh man, so much.
But yeah, it's it's not directly the world that I live in, but man, that's awesome. And you're right, you're absolutely right. If a company put the energy into like they made a mistake, they put the energy in to make it right, I'm like, okay, like they got me.
Give them whatever they want.
Yep.
Take my money. You're good.
Yep. And
like they were honest about it. They were real about it. They owned up to it. Another core value here is ownership. We own up to our successes and our failures with a natural desire to celebrate or repair. I mean, like we're staffed of humans. Do we use AI some? Absolutely. But I don't pay AI. I pay humans, and there's going to be mistakes every now and then. But like to me as a boss, right? And this is something we talk about in every orientation of a new employee. I care so much more about how you respond to screwing up rather than the actual error itself. Like that matters so much more to me. And I don't think I'm alone in that. Not everybody's a boss, but like in just life in general, in any sort of like business transaction relationship, I care so much more on how you respond to screwing up than the actual screw up that you did. And I think when that's your mindset, you go from, I think a lot of times if you're terrified of negative reviews, it's a version of scarcity mindset, because you're thinking like, this is it, this is all we're going to get, and now it's going to screw it up. But it's a switch to that abundance. I'm like, all right, so how can we make the most of this situation? How can we turn this negative into a positive? And when you switch that mindset, now I will say there are some jerks out in the world that will just leave a negative review because there are awful people in the world. Absolutely. That's just how it works. But a majority of the time, you're able to take those negative reviews and really turn them into something beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
You said the magic word, Becca. I can see a question like, written on your face. You said AI. The joke is, Drew, it comes up every single episode as of late. Yeah. So,
But no, everything he said just goes to prove, like even with AI, human interaction still matters, customer service still matters.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like if I see a negative review, if I'm like reviewing a lawn care company or something, if I see someone from management respond to that review,
Hmm.
that sticks out to me. That tells me a lot about
Yeah.
their
It
character. Like,
almost erases the whole fact that it was a negative review,
correct,
right? Like we go from
correct.
like reading it and then oh wait, they responded it
Hmm.
and they fixed it. Oh,
Right,
that's actually a great thing. You know what I mean? Like
correct.
it completely erases that it was a negative review to begin with.
So we still need people. People.
We do. People matter.
So, let's talk about AI for a second.
Yeah.
So, um, I'll start with I think the easy question first, which is, do you see AI just straight out replacing people, or are you more on the side of the fence where it's more of AI as a tool that is used by people?
I think AI is going to replace tasks, not people. And I think AI has the opportunity to make us more powerful and efficient as people. But no, I don't see it just replacing people as a whole. We're using AI now as more of like a crutch or maybe a good starting point for things.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, like, where I'm really getting into it, I was at a mastermind last week in Nashville, Tennessee, and one of the afternoon speakers, he owns an AI agency. So, like, it's so funny. I mean, I'm 34. I feel like I'm smart and young with technology. Like I'm obviously a millennial. So it's like we are the last generation that remembers a time without easy accessible internet. But yeah, I think I've got it. Like I know how things work. But right when I think I know how AI is working, and then I'm sitting in a room with a guy who owns an entire agency about AI, and I'm like, oh, so I know nothing. Okay, cool. But like what he was able to show is just it's gonna be a time saver for a lot of things, and it just keeps getting smarter. But like I said, I think a lot of people, anything new and change, we kind of get freaked out for a second because it just change in general, and especially if it's a change that you're uneducated in, people really freak out, or you're not like really trying to become educated in it, they really freak out. And a lot of times that's AI, especially older generations, they don't even want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they know change is coming and they have no interest in getting educated in the change, and it's a dangerous mindset to be in. But I think what is really great about I think it's going to make us better. I think it's going to make people better because it's going to save us time doing tasks that no human is probably at their best doing, rather than helping us become more efficient and have more time to work on the stuff that only humans can do, if that makes sense. But I mean, like I said, we're using it for certain things, but like, I mean, we'll use it for creative. If like we got like a creative rut, or something like that, we'll use it as kind of like a kickstart to get more creative happening. But I mean, I could definitely see with automations, tasks and things like that, I could definitely see it in the next 12 months completely changing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that is very soon. So Star Trek by 2026, guys.
Yeah. Somebody did say the Jetsons, like we're getting close to the year the actual Jetsons was supposed to be made. So I don't know about flying cars, but hey, I'll take a robot that does my dishes and laundry. I'll take that all day. That'd be great, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
And Walmart has
2062.
drones now that deliver groceries. So we're getting there.
Man. Amazon tried that a while back, I think, too. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, the Jetsons is set in 2062. You guys, we got
we
got a couple decades, but yeah,
we're getting there.
Looking forward to the Mr. Spaceleys of the world.
Yeah.
As someone who does some creative work myself in terms of like creating, like copy and post and stuff, I like that you mentioned using AI as like a tool to help you get out of a rut, especially if you write like a lot. Sometimes it sucks. So like being able to have something that you can use to just like kickstart the engine, essentially like build you that momentum, and then you just get into it, man. That's been great for me. So that's how I've been using it.
100%. Yeah, especially like from the agency standpoint, we're working with our people are working with 10, 15 brands a day, sometimes in that same industry. So yeah, it does get repetitive a lot. What's cool too, like there's certain prompts, and this is really where I'm trying to get more educated on it. But like we were talking about the why, and like having a why statement as a business, or just really knowing your brand identity, I think is a big part as well. But you're able to put those details into the prompt of AI, and it will give you, the output will be so much more intentional and creative. If it was for Larissa Media, I would tell us like, hey, so you are a team member at a marketing agency named Larissa Media, which is located in Kokomo, Indiana, that their why they exist to, partner with small businesses in hopes to increase their impact internally, locally, and beyond, so that together we can, change the world. All those details, people you should never type in just one line to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like really preface it, right? Give the AI software as much possible detail as you can, and that will change the output tremendously. So as we're working with client to client, we're putting those different details of that client into that prompt. So we're never getting the same output for every client. Mm-hmm. Which is something that drives me nuts for a lot of agencies that work in specific niches and industries, is everybody's stuff ends up looking the exact same. Drives me nuts. So like with that, we're fighting back on that, because we're telling this AI specifically about that client every time. But there's so much stuff to learn with it.
And I want to piggyback on that a little bit, because you kind of, in a way, you touched on it, but like utilizing AI is its own skill set. So being able to know like how to prompt AI, or like how to build an automation and stuff, and like how to do it effectively, efficiently.
Oh yeah.
That's its own thing.
100%. And that goes back to like just that education and YouTube University. I mean, there are so many awesome YouTube creators now that all they do is talk about how to leverage AI, how to use AI more efficiently. But yeah, it really is like a lot of things in life. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, and like that works with AI prompts as well.
I'll limit it to the marketing world. Are there any specific AI tools that you guys recommend, that you guys use, that you guys recommend to your clients?
We're not there yet, where we're like recommending it to our clients. I mean, a lot of our clients, they'd be asking us, what are you using? But I mean, ChatGPT is a great spot. What's the other one I found that I use every now and then if I'm not happy? It's called Claude. Claude is another good AI, provider, AI engine. It's more on like the creative side, I've learned at times. But I mean, I definitely pay for the ChatGPT 4. So we're doing like the images world. Mm-hmm. Now we're never posting an image for a client that was made by AI.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff and uses that we use it for. But honestly, just a lot of things. Just get into ChatGPT, poke around in, what do they call them? Extensions, is that what they call them? Or explore GPTs. Yeah. And like it's kind of becoming like the new app world. Remember when we first got iPhones and like we would just browse the app store, right? Remember that time?
Yes.
Oh, that was probably like our millennial brains trying to replace when we would go to like movie rental stores on a Friday night and just look at all the movies.
Oh my goodness.
We would just scroll and look for different apps that we possibly could download. Now we're clicking off of ad campaigns if we want to download an app. But the ChatGPT kind of has their own app store now, where you can just poke around and like just see what is possible. Or like I was saying, like just find a good YouTube creator that is just all things AI, and like the stuff you'll learn if you spend 18 minutes a day on YouTube University would just change your life completely. So nothing specific. I know there was one example, and the guy who was at that mastermind last week in Nashville, and he literally wrote a country song. Didn't just write. The AI created the song and the lyrics and the vocal track and the band with like a 2-sentence prompt, like into ChatGPT. Wow. And it was literally like, write a 90s country song about being a business owner, I think is what the prompt was. And there's a specific GPT on ChatGPT that makes music. And like literally in a few minutes, he had a 3-minute and 30-minute song that sounded just like Tim McGraw or John Michael Montgomery, and it was just 90s country to a T, and it was fascinating. So it's just one of those things. Maybe as you're poking around, or instead of scrolling on TikTok before you go to bed, hop on ChatGPT and just poke around, and just those incremental moments of just trying to educate yourself could make really massive changes long term.
That just
Also,
kind of
just found
reminds
the ironic moment of imagine reading a book about AI. It's just kind of funny to me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh
Oh my
my
A hard
gosh.
copy paper
Yeah.
book about AI. Sorry, the
I mean,
irony
no,
just
that's
smacked
great.
me across the
I
face
think-
there. That would be funny.
I think you should. I mean, you could even
I
just
should
you
write
could,
a book?
You could write one, and I mean, you could sell it on Amazon. It's almost like a bit.
Oh,
There
what
you
if I just
go.
wrote a book and it was all about chat? The first page was go to this link. And it was just showing you. All the other pages are blank, but
Yeah.
the first one just says, all right, first things first, go to this link. And it's
Yeah.
like a YouTube tutorial video or something like that.
It's like
I
hardcover
love
and everything,
it.
and then you have like the credits and all the first couple pages are always
100%.
like the
Thank
whatever.
you, the foreword. Yeah.
And then it's the first real page, page one.
It's a QR code.
It's
it
a-
has
it's
to
a
be
QR code,
actually.
or
Yes.
I was gonna say,
So funny.
or you could do a link and then like visually print it in blue with the underline, like it would be a hyperlink.
I love it.
Like you could click. I don't know.
See,
I think that'd be. There you
This
go.
is
I
reminding
mean,
me
or
of
I
how
could just write the entire book with AI.
You
This book was completely written by AI.
Like people
Makes
might
sense.
get a little upset about that, but
Hey,
uh,
it's fine.
but
As long
do
as
do the
it's-
do the first part and then take them to a web course and then the rest of the book is AI. I think that's great. That's
It
hilarious.
was so funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It makes
So
me
there you
think of
go.
how
There you have it.
fast technology has moved. And I was speaking to a Zennial, I guess, the other day,
Yeah.
and talking about Yellow Pages. And like, what's Yellow Pages? I'm like, oh my God, I'm old.
Oh man.
I'm officially old.
Yeah.
And they're-
No, you're experienced.
I'm
You are
experienced.
not old.
I'm
You are
experienced.
seasoned, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
I
No,
push
it's
the-
really weird. I have a 10 and 8-year-old boy and girl, and just to think about what their professional experience will be is
Right.
really weird. I remember thinking
Yeah.
about that when my daughter was born. I'm like, man, what the heck is a car going to look like when she's 16? Right. And now there's
Yeah.
a Cybertruck driving around. It's
Yeah.
just, it's wild.
Insane.
It's wild to think about, but I'm here for it. I think it's fun. And as long
Same.
as you keep that mindset of it's fun and
Yeah.
don't take things too seriously,
Go along
it's a
with
good
it.
place to be. Yeah.
Hey man, thank you so much for coming on to the Profit Roadmap. Super
Yeah.
glad to have you guys here. If people want to learn more about you or Larison Media, where can they find you guys at?
Yeah, larisonmedia.com, LARISON media.com. You can find me anywhere on the internet. If you want to watch some really embarrassing TikToks, you can go to my TikTok page. No, I'm usually Mr. Drew Larison on Instagram, or you can just look me up on Facebook. But yeah, would love to connect with as many people as possible and help you guys increase your impact.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure that all that stuff is linked into the show notes, including the embarrassing TikToks.
Yeah,
We're
Perfect.
going to make it super
absolutely.
easy.
We got to
super
include
easy.
that.
Yeah. Great.
All right, man. So,
All
like I
right.
was saying, thank you so much for listening to the Profit Roadmap. And for all the viewers, remember you guys can listen to this on all major streaming platforms: Apple, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Be sure to check out the show notes over at serviceautopilot.com/podcast to get links to all the topics we covered in today's show. And if you guys have any questions, guest recommendations, or if you want to be on the show, just shoot us an email over at profitroadmap@exploretechnologies.com. Explore is spelled XPLOR. And if you guys enjoyed today's show, share it with a friend. Maybe once this one's published, you can send it to Drew on his TikTok or something like that.